Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Whatnots. I'm Willow and I'm a quilter in South Central Pennsylvania. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Wow, so today I was actually going to skip my video, my weekly video, and play hooky from school. Just kidding, but no, really, last night I was thinking I have hardly anything to show you guys from this week, so why do a video? But I decided to come on here because that's what I do every Monday and just kind of share like the things I did get finished, and then I went through all of the comments and found questions to answer. So we're going to do a little Q&A also. But they're like all questions from the farmer's wife. So I don't have any like general questions to answer. But that's okay. So this is kind of going to be like a combo a Monday video / farmer's wife Q&A. So we're just going to go with that. So I do have some personal updates. Actually, I just really have one outside of the snow. So the kids had off Monday last week, and then they had they had a traditional snow day, and then they had a virtual snow day where they do school for like 3 hours on the computer. And then and so that was cool to have them home. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they had 2-hour delays because it was cold. Now we only got like a foot of snow. And in Pennsylvania, it's nothing to write home about. Not like other parts of the country where they get snow flurries and it's like a big deal because they don't get snow. But up here in Pennsylvania, a foot of snow is like the grocery stores get cleared out of milk and eggs, and then everybody just, goes about their life. And we were snowed in on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah. So Monday, but by Tuesday, everyone was out and about doing their normal stuff. We got plowed twice. Sunday, I think Sunday night. Maybe everybody was out and about by Monday. I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I do remember not letting my teenager drive, even though we have a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. I didn't want him out. But I think the next day he was out and about doing his stuff. He goes to the gym every day and stuff. So, but it was funny because they had 2-hour delays, and pretty much everybody in the Harrisburg area had 2-hour delays all week. And we got this really long email about it. So I think there were some really upset parents, but I was like, yes, I get to sleep in. I was so happy. Cause usually, let's see. So we didn't have to get up till like 7:30. And so that was like a nice extra almost 2 hours. So anyways, it was funny because like I said before, I lived in Nebraska for 16 years. And so they plow main roads only. They have emergency snow routes out there. So in a town of like 30,000 people, they plowed the 2 main roads and then like 4 main streets on the south side where I lived, and then the north side, I don't know what they plowed, but at least one road over there I know they would have. So yeah, I mean, they plowed, but only main roads. So and it got so cold out there. So if it snowed, it turned to ice, and it would be just a sheet of ice on your road for like 2 weeks, and you still had to take your kids to school. They didn't run buses out there. Like, you drove your kids to school, you picked them up, or if they were, elementary schools they had a bunch of elementary schools, and so, they were within walking distance. They were like neighborhood schools. And so a lot of times my kids walked, well, not my youngest because he was really young, but my oldest walked to school in elementary. And then the middle and high schools were close. But in the really super cold weather, like, I would drive them. But in warm weather, they'd walk, ride their bike. The neighborhood kids would all go together. Not all of them, but like a couple of them. So anyways, so it's like we're getting a 2-hour delay because it's 2 degrees out, okay? And by the time the bus comes, it's 10 degrees. Meanwhile, in Nebraska, my friend sends me a snap on Snapchat. -13, taking my kids to school. And I'm here like, we have a 2-hour delay. And we're not even in the negatives, and you're there with -13 driving your kids to school. And yeah, I mean, I remember it would get so cold, our truck wouldn't even start. Yeah, so it was just funny. And I'm like, I understand that, the geography alone is quite different. We have mountains and hills, but yeah, Nebraskans are built a little different. You get to the Midwest, and like, I thought Pennsylvanians didn't stop for anything, and then I moved to the Midwest, and it's a totally different culture out there, and they go to school when it's in the negatives because that's normal for them. But yeah, I think it's just funny to me. And yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, we have 2-hour delays because it's cold. And if any of you are in the Midwest, you hear that and you're like, what? So that was a first for me. Growing up here, we didn't get 2-hour delays for it being cold. But granted, I am 43, I think. I'd have to do the math. I always forget, like after 40, it's just like you are in your 40s. So a long, long time ago, I lived in Pennsylvania, and we went to school and everything. 2-hour delays were for snow plows to finish working. Not because it was cold, but I really enjoyed it. And I know there's a lot of people, like a lot of parents who work full-time 9-to-5 jobs, that was probably a nightmare for them last week, having off school, a virtual day, and then 3 2-hour delays. I mean, I just can't imagine how insane that must have been for a lot of people who, maybe have bank jobs or, similar working hours. So yeah, hopefully jobs were, understanding. But yeah. So, okay. Now that I'm done rambling about the weather for almost 10 minutes, I have the most exciting personal news ever. My youngest son, wants to learn to play the drums. Okay, this is exciting because I played the tenors in high school. If you don't know what the tenors are, they are quads or quints, which are 5. So the quads are 4. I had quints, so I had an extra drum. So they're 5 drums, and they have different pitches. And so, like, I was in marching band, and those were my drums. I was in drumline. And I'll pop a picture up if I can think about it. Actually, let me write down 945 drums. Then I'll remember to put a photo up. So So that is like the most exciting thing is when one of your kids like gets into a hobby that you did. Like my oldest totally is taking after his dad and is in sports. Granted, I played soccer my whole life. Um well, I quit after freshman year because like I was in soccer, I was in scouts, marching band, dance, like we were in everything. So I had to give some things up and I gave up dance and soccer and I stuck with scouts and band. And and then I was really into art and stuff too. So my oldest is really the sports one, and that comes from his dad's side. And his dad was just a sports nut, like very competitive also. And so he's not really like into anything I'm into. Um, but my youngest now, he's like the artsy one. And now he wants to play the drums. And I'm just beside myself because it's the greatest thing ever. Now, I didn't play drum set. I had one, but I was horrible at it. And it wasn't my thing. Like I loved marching band. I loved playing the tenors. I would have loved to play snare. I was in a senior drum corps where I played bass, first bass. I'm trying to think. We had 3 or 4 bass drums. I played first. That's the tiniest one, and then they get bigger as you go back. So yeah. So this came up this weekend when he went to a friend's house and his friend has a drum set and he played his friend's drums and he learned how to paradiddle and he came home and he's like, Mom, I think I want to try the drums. Yay. So I'm so excited. So hopefully today, this afternoon, I'm going to run up to Diehl's drum shop, which I can't believe is still around, but that's where we shopped for our drum heads when we'd break them, well, I broke a lot of drum heads. And so I'm going to run up there and get him a practice pad and some drumsticks because I have marching band drumsticks. Like I have heavy duty Vic Firths. They are number 1, too big for his hands, and number 2 meant for marching band, not for drum set. And he wants to play drum set, so I have to get him some thinner drumsticks because marching drumsticks they're really really big. Anyway, so I'm excited to do that, and then I told him I will teach him what I can. I mean, I have 0 skill left I haven't picked up drumsticks in, over 20 years. Like, because once you're out of marching band, what do you do? Like, I didn't play drum set. I marched. I played the tenors. Like, that's it. So I didn't keep up my skills. But I can teach him, like, at the level he's at, I can teach him the basics and get him started. And then, I can get him lessons and stuff and buy him a drum set and, do all the things. So yeah, I told him, a week or 2 on the practice pad. And if you still want to do it, we'll go shopping for a drum set. So I was so excited. And my musician friends are so excited. And if you were a musician, you get the excitement of your kid wanting to, do something. Yeah. So anyways, let's move on to what we came here for now that I've been rambling for almost 15 minutes. And let's talk about sewing and quilting. Yay. Okay. So first, I want to get it out of the way that I did not buy anything this week. I did not get any packages this week. The only thing I have coming is that little stand. So I showed you this one last week that I had got that I don't really care for, but it's good for the couch for embroidery. And so I have a tabletop one coming And I don't remember if I had ordered it already last week or if I had just talked about it. But that's coming, I think, like Wednesday from Missouri Star. And so, up in the air about whether I will do some videos. But I was throwing around the idea of just doing like maybe a live stream once a week. And I could just like, I don't know, answer some questions and sew or just sew. I don't know. I have a lot of like ideas floating around in my head and I'm just kind of like talking through them a little bit. But that was one of my ideas. Whether I do it or not, who knows? But I did want to potentially, I can't talk. It's Monday. Potentially do some videos on embroidery. And so anyways, I have that coming. So I'll play around with that at some point and see what happens. No promises. No promises. Okay, so on that note, I didn't do hardly any embroidery this week. Last week, I said the next one was the bee and that would be the last big one. And so I just did a tiny little bit, not much. Really tiny little bit. This is all right here. This whole thing right here is French knots. And then this part will be too. This little stripe right there, I think is all French knots. So I may or may not work on that some more this week. I just didn't have time this week to do a lot of stuff, to be honest. And this upcoming week, I'm also not going to have a lot of time. I have some friends going through some really difficult times right now. And so I'm making these little prayer Bibles and so they have topics on them. So I have like strength, love, hope, peace, comfort, trust, gratitude, wisdom, healing, like stuff like that. And they're just all tabbed. And then I have some like major things at the top, like Psalm 23, Ecclesiastes 3, Moses' song in at the end of Deuteronomy. And then I just highlight like let's see. Anxiety and gratitude are both on this page and it's in Psalm 94. So I just highlight and right next to it, and then there's a tab for it. And so yeah, I'm working on making some of these for a couple people who just like really, it would really, I think, help them right now with some things that are going on in their lives. So that's kind of like my project for this upcoming week. And so aside from the recording Farmer's Wife blocks, I'm just not going to have much time to sew this week. So on the note of the Farmer's Wife, I'm going a little out of order here today. Usually I wait to do Farmer's Wife. I'm not sure if I showed any of these last week. I don't remember what I recorded this week. So like, oh, my hair, it's like so static in here. So I don't know what I recorded. So I'm just going to show you the ones I have finished that are not coming this week or got posted last week. So Granny, I have finished. I love the colors on this one. They're my high school colors actually. So, and then Bride is number 17. That looks like a snow cone or something. That one was a lot easier to make than I thought it would be. Let's see here. And then Anne, number 4. That's super cute. Number 13, Belle. And then number 22, Cat. And these are just ones I have recorded. These are not coming this week. And I can't tell you when they're coming because I don't have the thing pulled up. My Notion, I have everything scheduled in there. So these, they have a home. They'll go to their home when I'm done here. Okay, so let's talk real quick. I'm just kind of like all over the place today. I'm not, my head's not on straight because I had to wake up early. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. Oh, speaking of coffee, if you remember, I had my favorite coffee mug and I broke it. It spilled on my quilt and everything, and that was before Christmas. And so my kids got me a new one. And I forget who it's by. My sister does a lot of craft shows, and my mom went to this one and she picked it out. And my kids always get me like a coffee cup for like Christmas, birthday. I get coffee cups. And so my mom found this one at a craft show she went to, and gave it to the boys to give to me, because that's how Christmas shopping for parents works. So that was really cool, and I just love it. I love it. It's cute. All right, where was I? Oh, okay. So what we have this week, and I only have 1 board up there, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so what I have, let's see where, let me just put it in front of me, and then I'll just take them off and show you. Okay, so the ones that were posted have been posted this past week were number 8, Ant. And I showed these last week also. Number 10, Ava. And number 7, Augusta. That one was really fun. I really liked that one. Okay, and then coming up this week is, so these will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Number 14, Betty. Number 15, Blossom. This one gave me a very difficult time. And number 2, Amy. So the reason that Blossom gave me a difficult time, guys, I think these templates are the wrong size. Because where's that other one? I have had no problem with little pieces like this, or of course it's the last one. This one has a bunch of small triangles also. You see both of those. And for some reason, this one came out the completely wrong size, way too big, and I had to redo it. So I recorded an entire video, because I'm doing these for the first time when I make the videos. I started to do like 1 and then record the video, so I would be making 2, and then I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do it because then people see my mistakes. But I had to redo the whole video, not just a mistake, because and I thought it was something I did, but it might still be something I did, but I'm telling you guys, I think the size of the template's wrong. So when you watch this one, make sure you sew on the line, because if you don't sew on the line, it's going to be huge. And it's the only one I've had to sew on the line, because typically you sew a scant quarter. That didn't work out so well. And all these others are the right size. Everything has come out the right size except for Blossom. And I've done, I don't know, I've done a lot. I have no idea how many I've done. But they all come out at 6.5 or like a millimeter bigger. So yeah. But these, I didn't have any problems with any of these. Oh, there was one. I finally had to use my seam ripper. I wish I could tell you which one it was. I don't remember. No, I think it was this one. Okay, sorry. My dog started barking at something, so I had to pause. But this one, because there's a lot of Y seams that you sew together, this one, something happened and I sewed something on the wrong thing. So I finally got out the seam ripper. I thought it would be a lot sooner, but it wasn't. So that's kind of cool that I've been doing a pretty good job until that one. So yeah, I'm still a week or two ahead, and I will be doing those I'll still be recording this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like I normally do. But then I'll probably be working a lot on those little prayer Bibles. Okay, so moving on. I'm just going to put this back here. Okay. The last thing I have before we get into questions is my Dear Jane. And this, honestly, I'm probably not going to be working much on this week. And I'm really sad about that. But I have so much other things to do. And I really want to get some work on my bear paw done also. I have that basket. I actually put it on my desk. I put the bear paw basket. What did I drop? Something fell out of there. Huh. Okay. Anyway, so, and that's why I got this out too. Put it all in there. So I really want to get working on that. So I have that out on my desk right now. And then I will finish most likely row A of Dear Jane. And somebody did comment about wanting to see some of these blocks, and I would love to do a series on Dear Jane. As a matter of fact, like, I put all these little notes and everything of like what to cut, and just I have all these little notes, and I have templates cut out, and I think I showed you this stuff last week. So I'd absolutely love to do a whole series on Dear Jane. I think it would take about a year to do all the recording and sewing. But for now, I'm just making one because this one is way more complicated than the Farmer's Wife. And so I didn't really want to go into this blind. And I really wanted to start it, and I just don't have space on my computer to do it all. And I didn't want to get distracted from the Farmer's Wife. I really want to keep consistent with the Farmer's Wife and get that finished and make sure I get all the videos done. And so I just wasn't really wanting to record the Dear Jane yet. So I'm going to make this quilt alongside the Farmer's Wife, or I may get tired of it and stop, but I will eventually do a whole series on this, and I'm hoping that I'm not burnt out of it when we're done the Farmer's Wife, because this would be a really nice one to do next. Some of them take a really long time. Okay, so I got done. Let's go in order. Okay, this one is A10, Which Points West. And this one is a lot of applique. And by a lot, I mean these are tiny little, what are they, 5-inch blocks. So it's not a lot of applique, but it's applique. I did needle turn, and what I'm doing for the applique is oh, it's not this one. Okay, but I'll just show you. So like I cut off the 1/4 inch, and then I iron the fabric over it, and that's what I've been doing. So, oh, that's for that one. Okay. And then I just kind of do like needle turn. Nothing fancy, no extra bulk or anything by doing the whole like sew it together, flip it inside out thing, which I did on this big quilt, which is a great way to do hand applique on stuff that's this big, but not this size. So I did needle turn. Next I did A11 Pebbles Protest. This one's so cute. I love this one. And these were all like, I don't want to say they were easy, but they didn't have anything fancy going on, really. No, they didn't. I mean, if you look at the back, it's all like square and then applique on top of it. So nothing fancy on these. No curves to sew, you know, all that stuff. And then A12 Framed Fancy. Again, it looks incredibly difficult, but it's all just straight lines. They're just really tiny pieces. And I mean, this is perfect for hand sewing because they're teeny tiny. I mean, like, I made these itty bitty little flying geese. They're so tiny. I love them, and this one was so much fun. It took forever because they're so tiny. It's a lot of detail. Okay, so I have these. Let me put those. They go on my ironing board, actually. I'll leave those there. Okay, so the reason I don't have anything on the other board is because I have all my pieces laid out for the next Dear Jane. I had got them cut out and everything and laid out, and then I got busy doing other stuff this weekend. I actually didn't sew at all this weekend. I think I got these cut out Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I didn't do any sewing. That's not very happy, but I had a really good weekend, so it's still happy. So this gets sewn together, and this one's going to be a little more difficult with these curves, and so it'll just be a little extra attention to detail. So the way I have it laid out, it won't be too hard because when I lay them out, you'll see in like the Farmer's Wife series, when I lay them on the board, I lay them how I'm planning to sew them together. And so Dear Jane doesn't give you any ideas of how to do it. You just have to either figure it out, find a YouTube video, or figure it out. And so for this one, I just laid it out using what little brain power I have on any given day and figured that this is probably how it's going to go together. So I'll sew these together, these together, these together, all of these as separate units. And then I'll squish this together and make like, you know, a square. It's not a square, but you know what I mean. And then I'll sew two sides and then the other two sides. So that's why this isn't up back there, but yeah, this is my next one. I love the colors. Guys, I love Kim Diehl. I love her fabrics. I love her fabrics. So it's going to be a really cool looking quilt. And I'm not really following any color scheme. In the book, you can see there's like pinks and then reds, and I'm not doing that. I'm just picking stuff and going with it. Yeah. And there's another collection coming out soon, so I will grab some 10-inch squares when that comes out. And it all just matches so well. And so this is 2 collections in row A. And so I might go to like row C or D and do those next. And then when the new collection comes out in March, go back and do like row B, you know, kind of mix it up a little. But we'll see. I have no idea. We'll see what happens when it happens. Okay. Let me check. Okay. Garden Friends, Dear Jane, Farmer's Wife. We did that. Okay. So it's time for questions. And we have about 10 to 20 minutes to do those. So I'm going to go here. And now I think there is one question. Oh, okay. There was one question about the embroidery. Rachel Q Stitches. And I am so sorry. This was 13 days ago and I don't know how I didn't see it. Like I don't go every day to answer questions and comments, but somehow I answered everything on that video and I totally missed it. Not sure what happened. I'm really sorry about that. So I did answer her today. And okay, so she asked for the MSQC, which is Missouri Star Quilt Company, embroidery, how big are the circles? And I think she means the hexagons. It's somewhere over there. So it's a hexagon. They're all hexagons. And, okay, so this is an 8-inch hoop and these are 10-inch squares. Okay, so that's just the general information. You cut 10-inch squares and an 8-inch hoop works real well to actually like work on it. Okay, so the hexagons are 8 1/4 inch edge to edge. And then from corner to corner, they're 9 1/2. I should probably get that out. Let me see where it is. I think it's in this box. Okay. I don't need it till like next year probably. Okay, so I'll just throw that down there. I'm just gonna put it on here because it's hard to see on the computer without something behind it. Okay, so edge to edge is usually how you measure them. You measure them by the side. I didn't measure the side. Okay, anyways, 8 1/4, 9 1/2. Let me measure the side because that's how you measure hexagons is by one side. All right, so this is 4 3/4. So what I'm doing, you measure it by just the side there. So it's 4 3/4 is what you would call the size of this hexagon. It would be 4 3/4. So I did not put that in my response. So hopefully you're watching this video. 4 3/4 is what the side is. Okay, I will put that away when we're done here. All right, let's see. Let me delete that. Oh, I just lost my whole thing. Okay. All right, so what order are you choosing blocks to make? Okay, so I did put I've had a couple of people ask this question on different videos. I put a post up of the first half of the quilt. I do not have blocks 51 to 99 scheduled out. So how I chose what blocks to make, I took all the packets, all of these, and I laid them out on my bed. And I put them in piles of, okay, I think these are going to be really easy ones. So I'm going to put those in pile A. Pile B is what I imagine will be like more intermediate style. And then pile C, these will look really difficult or like they'll take a really long time. And then I just laid them out. I took pile A and I laid them all out into like 17 or 18 weeks. And then I took pile B and I did the same, and then pile C. So they're completely random in the way that I didn't go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only method was these look easy, these look hard. I want to do an easy, a medium, and a difficult every week, so everybody gets, a little bit of, I didn't want to save all the really difficult ones till last, because then it would be like doing one a week, because there are some that look like they'll take forever. And so I wanted to do like some light sewing on the easy ones. And you can kind of see that in like, Ant. Let's see if I can point. Okay, that one took me an hour. The one next to it took me 2 hours, and this one took 3 hours. Let's see. I'm looking at it and pointing, but then I look at my computer and I have to move, so I'm pointing at a totally different one. Okay, so the one I'm pointing at now, I have marked 1.5. And then these two, I both have marked 3. So it looks like I didn't do a great job picking that week, because I have a 1.5 hour and 2 3 hours. But the top one is about what it was supposed to be, like easy to hard. So that's the method. Now, I will have a link in the description. Let me write this down. Link to blog. Okay, I talked about the blog last week, where I may or may not be making posts regularly. But in my Monday videos, I will let you know if I have made a post, and I have. And there's no paywall. Okay, I have it on buymeacoffee.com. There is no paywall. You can go read my posts for free. You do not have to pay for them. I chose that site because I would prefer not to monetize my channel, but I do have to make money eventually. So I may end up monetizing, or we're playing around. We're seeing what happens. But you do not have to give me money to read the post. So I will put a link, and I put the schedule up in a post on that site. So that's kind of where all my blog posts will be. And that might change. I'm just kind of playing around, because there's also Patreon, which I'm not a fan. But there's also Substack, and that was another one that I was kind of thinking about maybe doing. Okay, so I'll put a link to that so you can get the schedule of, and I'm not guaranteeing that that's the schedule. If I really struggle with a block, I might have to move it. Kids get sick. I get sick. Things happen. I may not be able to get you 3 videos a week, but that's how the schedule is, and that's how it's been flowing. It's been really, up until now, I've been able to get 3 videos out a week, and I'm a little bit ahead, so I have them scheduled. But if I were to get really far behind, I might move the schedule back to 2 a week, just so you have content every single week. So we'll see. But the tentative schedule is up, and I will put a link to that. Okay. Where can I get a ruler like that you're using? Oh, I forgot to bring that over. Where is it? Let me grab that quick. Okay, so I believe she's talking about, this is Linda Fowl 7059. And I believe, Linda, you're talking about this one, which is a quilt in a day ruler, and it's very dirty. There's sticky stuff like from stickers on it. It's old. So that's this. She's barking again. Okay, sorry. My dog was barking again, but quilt in a day. Now, I picked up this ruler like forever ago. Oh, 15 years probably. So I got it at my local quilt shop in Nebraska. So I don't know where you can get it, but wherever they sell quilt in a day, I can't imagine they wouldn't still have this. It's a flying geese. The finished geese are 2x4 and 4x8. And I used this, I don't know, maybe my very first quilt. Were there flying geese on that? Anyways, I've had it forever. I don't remember when I got it, but I know I definitely would have got it at my, it's called the Quilt Rack in North Platte, and they do have an online thing, but anywhere they sell quilt in a day, you could probably find it. Now, I don't know if I have this ruler in there yet that you may have been talking about, but I also have the 6.5 inch square, and I got this, I don't know where I got this. It was either Missouri Star or Fat Quarter Shop, and I would have shown it on a previous video, maybe last week. So I don't know if it's actually in the video you're talking about. I think you're talking about the quilt in a day ruler. You might check Missouri Star or Fat Quarter Shop. They may actually have them. And I think quilt in a day, let's see, this says quiltinaday.com. So I'm sure you can probably find it on their website. Okay, let me get rid of that one. See where I'm at on time. Oh, okay, we're getting there. Okay, Michelle Gregerson 4918 asked, have you ever used the plastic sheets to cut your quilting templates from? I used it when I needed lots of the same block. It didn't wear out. I have not. I know they exist, and I know people use those, and also the like plastic cutting mats from like, I think like the Dollar Tree or something. But I haven't used the plastic. I just used what I had on hand. And so for the farmer's wife, I had all this big thing of cardboard paper, like it's not like chipboard, but it's not as thin as cardstock. It won't go through my printer, but it's also not as stiff as chipboard. So, yeah, so I used that for the farmer's wife. And then for Dear Jane, I decided just to use, oh my gosh, I literally just said this word, cardstock, because I had a ton of it, and it's a lot of work to print out, cut out, glue on the cardboard, and then cut the cardboard out. Like, it's a lot of work, and I just kind of wanted to save my hands. My hands have been hurting a little bit, so kind of another reason why I didn't get a whole lot done this week is my hands have been a little sore. So yeah, I have not tried them. I would like to sometime. I think it would work real well, but I have not. Okay. And then a couple different people asked, why are the templates traced on the front? Because the blocks will be backwards if you don't. And if you do front and back, some pieces won't fit. There are some odd shaped pieces, but mostly it's because they'll be backwards. If you trace everything on the back, they'll be backwards. You do the same when you applique, I think. I think I traced everything. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. No, those I might not have because they're all the same. Like, they're all the same. I may not have, like, there is no backwards on those. You can't, there's nothing that can be backwards on that quilt. So I may have, I don't remember. I probably traced on the back for those. But for the Farmer's Wife, Dear Jane especially, I think you would have some major problems if you traced on the back. But you can, especially if there's blocks that, like, let's see if I can point. There we go. Like that one, you can sure trace on the back. No problem. A lot of them you can. Your tree would be backwards probably. There are some, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, I trace everything on the front. It's just easier. It is. Okay. It's not easier. I always say something and then I'm like, wait, no, it's not. Okay. So it's easier in the sense that everything's laid out perfectly. When you get to your board, everything is laid out. You don't have to reverse anything. It's how you traced it and cut it out is what it looks like in the book. I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, what was I saying? I can't remember. Okay, we're moving on because my brain just decided it was gonna quit. Happy Monday. Okay, is the book meant to hand piece the blocks or is that a personal choice? That's from Samantha Rice, D4H. The book doesn't really tell you how to piece them. It tells you how to put them together just by a diagram. Okay, so there's diagrams that say, hey, do this first, but there's no words. Okay, so there's a link in the front of this book. After you buy the book, there's a link. And it takes you to a website where you can download the templates. And for this book, there is like a ton of pages because they have the templates to trace out like I'm doing. And so you would use that for hand piecing. You could use it for machine piecing, but machine piecing tiny pieces is very difficult and a lot of times they get caught. So I don't recommend machine piecing, but I have seen people do it. But then there's also the block that you can print out to foundation paper piece, or you could cut that apart to do English paper piecing. So I can't really say the book is meant for one method because you can do any method. I'm sure you could even find a way to applique some of these. Like literally you can do it any way you want. And there are templates to print out. So you could do foundation paper piecing or English paper piecing with the sheets that are on the website for that. And then there's also the templates, which is what I'm using. So I wouldn't say the book is meant to hand piece. It's meant to, this particular one is meant to do however you want to. Let me see where I am on time here. I have one more question I want to get to before we quit. The PDFs, the blocks, the quilt, about, yeah. It doesn't give you, it doesn't say, hey, do it this way. Full-size templates, paper piecing instructions and patterns. So, okay. So it does say on the back that there are paper piecing instructions. It doesn't specify, but they are for foundation paper piecing, but you could easily English paper piece. Yeah, just cut them out, do whatever you want. I am hand piecing though. Okay. And really, like, hand piecing, you can just, like, if you want to do machine piecing, you can still watch my videos and machine piece, because it's the same method that you would do to hand piece. I don't know anything about foundation paper piecing. I don't do it. I did get a little free gift in one of my Black Friday purchases that had, what were they? Were they roses, I think? And so I'm going to try foundation paper piecing at some point with scraps, but no time soon, because I have too many projects, and you know, I just added Dear Jane last week, so I have so much going on. So I don't see myself starting foundation paper piecing anytime soon. I think my next project would probably be English paper piecing. I've kind of put my English paper piecing on the back burner while I work through a lot of this, like, hand piecing that I'm doing. But I would love to do like a whole English paper piecing quilt. Oh gosh, that one by is it Alice Caroline? The flowers one. Oh my gosh, but by the time you have it shipped from anywhere, even Duckadilly, which is stateside, is like insanely priced. Yeah, I can't afford that. I'm sure I could find a way to afford it, but it's not there right now. So someday, I hope she keeps doing, like, there's actually a Dear Jane kit from her too, but I didn't want to English paper piece Dear Jane. I did try the first block and I was like, I just don't want to do it that way. Like, I want to do it how Jane would have done it, or close. Anyways, so yeah, I kind of think, I'm trying to think what Alice Caroline one it is. It's something about flowers, and it's just, oh, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So someday, hopefully she has the pattern available or releases the kit again and again and again and again. I'll have to save up for that one. Okay, so the last question, and we're at an hour. Evelyn French 804. Thank you for your video. I notice you start your stitching about a 1/4 inch from the fabric join. Am I correct? I think I know why you do it that way. Okay, I don't know why I do it that way. That's how I learned to do it. And the reasoning that I can think of, okay, for one, the Y seams. If you have Y seams, you have to. You have to do it that. I mean, you just have to. So it's a good habit to get into. Also, when you trim, all of these are trimmed, I think. Yeah. Yeah, they're all trimmed. On my bear paw, when I make 1/2 inch triangles, I make them bigger. So what are they, like 2 3/4, 2 1/2? I don't know, but I cut them at 3 inch. And then I trim them down. So if I were to sew edge to edge, number one, that would fray the edges. It would probably not sit right. And two, I would cut off my anchor stitches or my knot. I knot. You don't have to knot, but I knot. I put knots in. I probably do too much. But you would cut that off. And, you know, it's not like a machine where you chain piece and you don't really need that anchor stitch. Like, I truly believe you'll have a much stronger quilt if you have those anchor stitches on the ends. So, yeah, I don't know really all the reasoning, but that's how I learned, and that's like my thoughts on why we do that. Now I do have a how to hand sew video, which applies to just regular hand sewing. It does not so much apply to these quilts with templates because you're not trimming them down, really. There's going to be a tiny bit of trimming, but you could easily start 1/8 of an inch away from the edge and be fine. But yeah, so, let me think. Oh, I love that coffee cup. And the handle's so big too. I actually used it for tea last night. I really like drinking lemon balm tea before bed. And my son likes his chamomile and lemon balm and sometimes some catnip, and he's like a little old man. He's cute. Yeah, so yeah, this if anyone has anything to add to that, like why you start 1/4 inch in when you hand sew, leave it in the comments because that's just what I learned to do and it seems logical to me. So that is all I have for this week. That's it. So we'll see you next Monday. And if you're doing the Farmer's Wife, look for the next video Wednesday at noon. All right, guys. Bye.